We have breaking news on the Rams situation. For those who haven't seen the video, I already posted. I had just posted a video about 5 minutes before the NFL updated the breaking news for the Rams game on Monday nights. We're going to get into details about that and much more on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Rehdon. If you guys didn't have a chance to watch my last video, I did start off by saying I know football, again, is not the number one thing on anybody's mind right now, not especially in the Los Angeles area. If you're not from the Los Angeles area, the Los Angeles community is dealing with a lot of tragic fires right now all over, and at this point in time there's a couple fires that are essentially at 0% containment still, and they've been burning for almost a full day now. And so a lot of people in the Los Angeles area are dealing with tragedy, and the Rams and the NFL have to acknowledge that it is not a safe time right now for athletes and fans to be trying to enjoy a football game, unfortunately. And so they are moving the game officially, and we're going to get into details about that right now. I just wanted to make sure off the top, I know a lot of people may have not seen the last video I just posted, so if this is the first video of me you're seeing, I do want to acknowledge, one, that I'm safe, my family is safe at home, and our home is no loss of power still, and aside from dealing with smoke and the air quality outside, we are luckily safe and okay. But again, I'm my thoughts and prayers are with everybody who is dealing with the tragic situation right now. There's multiple fires going on in Los Angeles County right now, and so it's just a very, very scary time and a very sad time for a lot of people, a lot of Rams fans as well. So I just want to acknowledge, I understand that not everybody has time to sit and think about football at the moment, but for those of you who maybe want to get an escape from thinking about the fires and just think about football for a second and understand the implications of what's happening for the Rams specifically, we'll get into details about that right here. In case you guys missed my last video, I just wanted to kind of say that off the rip. And so I want to pull this up here as we could talk about making history in this situation. This is kind of how serious the situation is for those who maybe haven't gotten a grasp of the seriousness of the situation in Los Angeles. The Rams are making history by having to move a playoff game. They are the second team apparently in history, and we'll talk about details about that in a second. But I want to pull this first story up here as officially breaking news. This is about maybe 20 minutes ago from me recording this. Vikings-Rams wildcard game on Monday has been moved to Arizona due to Los Angeles area fires. And so, we discussed this already. It is very, very serious. So we're constantly getting updates here in Los Angeles. And like I said, I just feel, honestly, at some point guilty at times just for, how lucky and fortunate we've been here in my home. Just, safe and no evacuation notices or anything like that. But there are many families and many homes have been burned down, and many families dealing with, I'm sure, loss of life and loss of family members, and it's just a very, very scary and unfortunate time right now. And so just to show how serious this is, the NFL has decided, after speaking with officials, after just a few hours of saying they're going to take their time with this decision, they have officially already made the decision to move the game to Glendale, Arizona, which does have some real football implications, right? Of course, again, we want to focus on the community and the health and the safety of everybody is first and foremost the most important thing, but there are some real football implications to this, right? We talked about this last episode if you guys haven't had a chance to see it, but there's a real disadvantage for the Los Angeles Rams to not have an opportunity to have a home game at SoFi Stadium playing a tough team like the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, there could be more Minnesota fans in the building in Arizona than Los Angeles Rams fans when it comes down to it. And I think it's an unfortunate situation and an unfortunate reality for the Rams to have to deal with on the football field specifically. I mean, in general, I'm sure the Rams team and the players and the staff are all thinking about the people at home who are dealing with even more severe, serious circumstances, but ultimately, in a football sense, it is difficult. It is very difficult. It's a thing that is unfair and unfortunate for the Rams. But I'm sure the players and the coaching staff will move forward and respond to this positively as they understand that the reason why this is happening is not, to be a slight for the Rams or to put them at a disadvantage on purpose, but it still is a disadvantage nonetheless. And so it is an unfortunate reality when we're talking about the football side of things in this situation. So we'll pull this up here so you guys can see it. Here's an NFL statement officially. Again, this was posted maybe about 20 or so minutes ago. In the interest of public safety, Monday's Vikings-Rams wildcard game has been moved from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, to State Farm Stadium, the home of the Arizona Cardinals. The NFL announced today the decision was made in consultation with the public officials, the participating clubs, and the NFLPA. And so a lot of people in on this decision. I'm sure it took them a while to make this decision, to finalize this decision, and ultimately, I think it is the right call. And honestly, if you would have asked me a few hours ago, I probably would have thought maybe it's possible they play, I guess, because the NFL was considering it. They had the statement saying that, they were really going to take their time with this decision. And so it seemed like maybe they're really going to try really hard and everything they can to make sure this game is played at SoFi Stadium. But I think, again, just to reiterate, the severity of the situation, the severity of the fires in Los Angeles are to this extreme, to where the Rams can already decide now, even though it's Thursday at 5 p.m. or now of the time I'm recording this Pacific time, that they decided officially to move the game. I mean, that's really just goes to show, even with Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to possibly prepare. Hopefully the fires are done by then. Hopefully they're contained and people are rebuilding and safe and ready to kind of move forward. But even in that case, it's still too early to say that we can expect Monday to be okay for them to play a football game in Inglewood. So very, very unfortunate news, of course, I think, again, I want to reiterate, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I do want to say that I get it. Football is not the most important thing here in this situation. So the NFL does have to move forward with the game. And so we appreciate them taking their time to think about the possibilities and the options. But ultimately, I think this might be the right call to move the game to Glendale, Arizona. It's unfortunate, again, like a disadvantage competitively for the Rams. But ultimately, it is probably the right decision for the NFL to move forward with this game in Arizona. We can pull up this here. I was talking about this decision making history, and this does seem to be making history, as Ian Rappaport has retweeted Tom Pelissero's tweet, saying that 2 playoff games in NFL history have been moved to a new city per NFL Plus. 1936, the Boston Redskins and Green Bay Packers NFL championship game from Boston to New York. It was moved, and I wouldn't be surprised if that game was moved specifically for fan reasons, right, to get more fans out of New York. Who knows? And then 2025 Minnesota Vikings and Los Angeles Rams wildcard game. And so that's just how small, what's the word here? How specific of a situation this is, to move a playoff game to a completely entirely new city. I mean, this is something we've literally not seen since 1936. And so I think that's where I was talking about the competitive disadvantage. This is almost 90 years of the NFL not doing this. And so just kind of emphasize how serious this situation is in Los Angeles, and how the NFL's probably tried in the past to avoid at all costs moving any games, and especially playoff games, because of the implications it could have on the field. But ultimately, again, that's how severe the situation is in Los Angeles. And our thoughts and prayers with anyone who is having to deal with this, hands on, right, with their homes, losing their homes and things of that nature. Definitely just scary times, like I said. So that's kind of the update for the Rams moving the game. It is official. That is breaking news as of, like I said, 20-30 minutes ago. So I wanted to get on here and make sure that was officially said to everybody. And last video I just posted right before the NFL announced this, I wasn't acknowledging that this was going to happen yet. That I recorded it a few hours ago. And so now I wanted to give an update, breaking news, that is the official word from the NFL. They are moving the game to Arizona. The game will be played in Glendale, Arizona. We do still have a couple other stories I want to get into. We could pull those up now, as we have some roster moves that the Rams have made earlier in the week that I forgot to acknowledge, and also some injury report updates that we can also discuss here, just to kind of get back into the football game itself, right? Again, for anyone who's trying to find an escape from these tragic news that's going on in Los Angeles, we can kind of escape through the football lens for a second and just kind of take a look at this game. This game is still going to be played, and the Rams, right? We still want the Rams to win. They got to play the game, and so why not maybe give us a little bit of an escape from reality, and hopefully win this game. And we could pull up this here. I think I have a quote maybe from Matthew Stafford coming up here. Yes, as we have Matthew Stafford, the quarterback for the Rams, acknowledging the situation as well. He said, "We're the Los Angeles Rams. We play for the people in this community. This week will be another example of that. Hopefully, it will be a great escape for people who have been through tough times." And that's kind of what I'm acknowledging here. I do want the game to go on. We do want the game to go on, and maybe it would be a nice thing to kind of take a second, especially for people who are, again, safe somewhere with their families, hopefully their loved ones, and come Monday night, and they can at least enjoy a couple hours of not thinking about the tragic, tough times that we've been going through over the last few days, and can just focus on a football game for one night, and hopefully the Rams can take care of business when it goes down to Arizona versus the Minnesota Vikings. And so we can move on from that and pull up this here, as the official injury report for the wild card game. Now, I will bring up the roster moves that I missed earlier in the week. It was, I think, on Tuesday. There's a running back involved. There's also a safety that is returning, making a kind of a playoff return, if you will, and so it's going to be very interesting. But first, let's acknowledge the injuries on the team. As we know, we had a couple of those last week. Hunter Long, he's dealing with a quadricep injury, but he was a full participant in practice on Thursday. Rob Havenstein, we discussed this with his shoulder. Of course, concerned about that as he missed 2 games in a row, but we think that last game was more of a resting situation for Rob Havenstein, as we want to see him at full health when it comes down to the playoffs. Again, we saw what Joe Noteboom was doing out there, and we were a little bit, there's some concerns there. No offense to Joe Noteboom, but some concerns to his consistency in terms of avoiding penalties and things of that nature. And so hopefully Rob Havenstein is ready to go. He's a limited participant in practice as of Thursday, so it looks like it's a green light. All good. All things are good so far. In terms of the Minnesota Vikings side of things, we can pull this up here so you guys can see me. Patrick Jones, the second outside linebacker, dealing with a knee injury, did not practice on Thursday. That could be a decent injury for them. Aaron Jones, senior, their starting running back, definitely a big time situation there. If he is dealing with an injury, he has a quadricep injury at the moment, but he was a limited participant in practice on Thursday, meaning he might be good to go, or probably likely going to be good to go come Monday. But all those guys, as you guys see right there on the list, are full participants in practice, so they are ready to go for Minnesota. They look relatively fully healthy on their side, relatively fully healthy for the Rams side of things. Going to be an interesting game, going to be an interesting battle to see come Monday nights. Moving on from that, we can pull up that big news that I was talking about, a safety ready to come back and play some, hopefully, big-time minutes, right, for the Rams. This is a guy that the Rams fans know well. John Johnson III, been here for a couple seasons now. The Rams set table for John Johnson III to make massive playoff return. Rams GM Les Snead made several roster moves Thursday, bringing back some familiar faces to the 53-man roster. It says Thursday, but I'm pretty sure these were made on Tuesday, or maybe last Thursday. I'm not sure. But yes, John Johnson III, right? A player that I think, of course, you got to give credit to Cam Kitchens, who's been playing absolutely phenomenal. We talked about Quentin Lake as well, stepping in, playing well as a DB as well for the Rams. All together, all the Rams defenders who have had to step up this season has an incredible job of stepping up and kind of next man up mentality, playing really well with that mentality, making some plays. But it doesn't matter. John Johnson III, right, can still step in there and either be a rotational piece since he's been injured. Maybe you're going to keep him in rotation because you want to give Cam Kitchens and Quentin Lake and those guys their credit and their playing time for how well they've been playing this season. But having a guy like John Johnson III, essentially who was expected to be probably their starting safety if he was healthy, to be back in the mix is definitely exciting news for the Rams. A very big time move for sure. And there were some other moves, right? We can pull these up here as we have a couple other roster moves to announce, as the Rams did put Blake Corum on injured reserve, but they activated John Johnson III, and then they signed practice squad veteran Royce Freeman. That is running back Royce Freeman, who he had some flashes last time he played for the Rams, right? So I talked about this when Blake Corum went down. Are they going to, by the way, last bit of news before we move on from it, just wanted to say, terminated by club from practice squad, Quindell Johnson. He's no longer on the practice squad for the Rams, as they need to make some space for Royce Freeman. But specifically on Royce Freeman, right? We talked about Blake Corum. He went to IR once he injured his forearm. Unfortunate news. We were hoping him a speedy recovery for next season. He's done for the year. Are they going to make a move? Do they trust Ronnie Rivers? Do they trust some of the other guys they have on the roster? And picking up a Royce Freeman is someone that, who knows, they could potentially pick up, activate him come game day if he's ready to roll. Maybe not Monday. Maybe the Rams go in, win the game, and you like what Royce Freeman brings to the table as opposed to Ronnie Rivers, just to mix it up a little bit. And maybe they activate him at some point on this playoff run, or just have him ready to go, ready to rock and roll in case there is some type of injury to a guy like, obviously not hoping for hopefully we can avoid any injuries, but if an injury goes to a guy like Ronnie Rivers or Kyren Williams, you have a guy like Royce Freeman on the practice squad ready to be called up whenever his services are needed. So who knows? Maybe they pick him up as a backup. Maybe they keep him down on the practice squad just to be ready to go, just in case. Interesting news nonetheless. We talked about the possible moves they could make. It looks like that's the move they're going to make for the playoffs, at least with the Royce Freeman pickup. So I doubt there will be any more moves in terms of the running back room, but we will see. You guys let me know what you guys feel about all those moves in the comments below. Again, I hope you guys are watching safe with your families. I hope everyone in the Los Angeles area is moving forward towards getting to safety, evacuating with their families, and of course, I just hope you're safe and sound wherever you are. If you are able to watch this video and able to think about football for a second, our thoughts and prayers are of anyone who's been dealing with loss of life, loss of family members, loss of their homes. Our thoughts are with you, and unfortunately, I know that doesn't mean a whole lot, but we talked about this with the last video with what Kevin O'Connell had to say. It's unfortunate. It's almost like that's all we can give at this moment, and hopefully we can move forward and these fires can be over sooner rather than later. That way we can get to rebuilding and moving forward as soon as possible. That's gonna do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Josh Giron, and I'm out.